All right, so back to this guy. So there, it is set up with a blue dot bouncing around the screen. The blue dot is there to show you the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. I am looking for 15+ degree temperature drops out of that blue dot. So the blue dot, again, tonight we're ambient about 32 degrees, we'll just say that. So I'm gonna be looking for, what is that, about 17 degrees and colder coming out of that. I also wanna make sure that it moves across the screen to make sure that it is not a can, a sign that caught some wind, the snow on the ground. You guys are getting my point. I want it to still move. But the blue and black areas are the coldest areas in the frame. I want them to move or to take shape. When I say take shape, I do want a head, shoulders, moving arms and legs kind of mentality, like real deal stuff. So again, there are such things as heat anomalies as well, but we're not getting that far into the science of thermal imaging tonight. If it does happen, I'll spot it in camera and I'll put the explanation in your notes. But with this guy, that's exactly what we're looking for. I love to give you stats about my equipment because again, you guys, a lot of times you show up and you watch Sam and Colby and the ghost hunting TV shows and you think this shit happens just like all the time, like on the fly. I get about 4 to 5 pieces per year. You guys get the point, not per episode. So again, I am not a TV show host, I'm not a YouTuber. It's just really cool to watch, first off. And secondly, if we're not recording, we're not gonna be able to capture it. So I do about 200 of these investigations, plus my own investigations per year. If that gives you an idea, when I'm only saying I get 4 to 5 pieces that I would put my stamp of approval on. So kind of put that in perspective.
I swear, I lived in a haunted house. I swear I'm gonna write a book about it one day. And out of the...
It's a left side.
Now
right?
you're on.
I'm
Yep.
gonna go ahead and do a little recording while she's got all the stuff going.
It happened twice, separately. That was fucking weird.
What'd you get?
Depends on what else happened.
Well, I'll let you know.
Well, I mean, even with anybody else.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll rely on you. Rely on all of it.
Hey.
You should have asked him like where we were going. He would have known.
Well, I didn't know where we were going. He's like,
Did
I'm
you
not
know
telling
anything
you
about this space?
anything.
What's that?
Did you know anything about this space that I just told you?
No, I just, it used to be during, when I worked down at Blue Green like 15 years ago, when they had St. Patty's Day, they used to start it off in the courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
That's where whatever that regiment is. And this used to be one of the big places everybody came down to.
Gotcha.
But I don't know the history of it at all. So
Yeah.
I just remember some
They've
part
never
of it.
done an archaeological dig here either.
Yeah, so I know the wall comes right, the old city wall is right around here somewhere.
Cumberland.
Yeah, is it Cumberland?
Yeah.
Well, I know it's down there, but I thought it came to around this area. Did it not? Okay. All right. Very cool.
Seen anything, baby?
Oh, maybe. No, I don't. You mean if I do, I haven't noticed anything.
Good. It's just my fingertips get cold.
All right, Philadelphia Alley is where they did their shit at right here. A little duel. Oh, here they come. Got 2 of them anyway. Still down 1.
Okay. Now we're only missing 1.
Who are we missing? Where'd Wes go?
The
Hey,
dude,
where's Wes?
he might have had the P2 maybe.
Hey,
They're just switching nuts.
where'd Wes go?
Guessing.
He's coming. He's right behind us.
Would you stop and get a shot or something? A grandma or something
Yeah,
back
I
there?
guess. You know, got to the intersection.
We should have did it. We should do a stop on that. You know, cold night.
Did
do a
you know
little-
that apparently you have to be sober to take this tour, baby?
Well, we're sober.
Apparently,
We had 1
yeah.
cocktail
Yeah.
at dinner. Can you imagine her after 4 cocktails? It's not good.
It's fantastic.
I'm very sorry.
You're fine.
We got her.
It's just kind of like, wait a minute, then there were 4,
Well,
then
the
there were
weird
2.
thing is,
It's like, the funny thing is that
You
you
got-
and
I
Wes
got-
went, and then you 2 came back, and now
Wes
he's
is
gone.
gone.
Crazy,
Like
isn't
it's a mess.
And you guys will understand why once I tell you why the hell we're actually down here. This is Philadelphia Alley. This used to be called Duelers Alley. Oh, by the way, spirit boxes. Did we hear anything? When's the last time we spoke at the mansion? Nothing? I know you know that.
Yeah. I didn't hear anything.
And where are we at on that word list? What we
Looking
got going on
at
there?
the map.
And Daly, go ahead and hit record on that.
Jazz.
Let me know how your battery's doing, because I have one.
There's 2 little bars.
Okay, we're good for this.
Labor, beg, finally ring and beg.
Okay.
Finally ring jazz.
We'll let you know. Okay. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. I say some of the duels because dueling was illegal in the 1700s and they had to find hiding spots.
Anybody down here?
Every ghost story comes down here. Doesn't look like it because everybody else checking out from going to go through. But we all come down here, but this guy particularly one that follows me around. He would always keep me in a place of raised emotion, so I decided to keep them in my route because I was going to take them out because everybody comes down here. I don't like to tell the same stories everybody else is doing. But anyway, I'm going to tell you the exact same story that everybody else tells, but I'm going to give you a few extra details because you're ghost hunting. You're not, on a campfire marshmallow kind of ghost hunting. Moving on. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. I say his name slowly because if the song Brown Eyed Girl shows up while we're here, and that's the lyric that you get, it's not coincidence. It's part of his name. It shows up here all the time. Moving on. Dr. Ladd moves here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a lot of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of the cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after her money. He tells Amanda, get rid of that doctor. She comes here to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. He's going to start his medical practice here. On his way into town, he had a coachman that set him up to be robbed and killed, like having a really bad Uber driver in today's world. Sorry, I get a lot of teenagers. I have to explain. Anybody want to guess where he put it? But where? Doc. Not his heart. It was his kneecap. Doc didn't die. He fell to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street. He died 10 days later, November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. 2 things about the last statement. First off, it's 1786. Gunshot wounds, a lot different back then than they are now. Secondly, he is a doctor. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself. Now, every ghost story that comes down here tells their guests to listen for the whistles. We have 2 cameras running, plus my voice recorder, plus the crazy voice recorder frog here and the voice recorder over here with Addis. If we're going to get a disembodied whistle, more than likely it's going to show up on one of those 4 devices. So we'll see what happens when we get the recordings back. The other piece of this is through spirit boxes. I can't tell you how many times I'm spot checking Wes's recording, and I hear the whistling part of a song and then the word doctor immediately from a commercial. It happens all the time. So countless and countless numbers of times. So I don't look for it. It is what it is. When I'm spot checking your guys' media, by the way, I listen to minute 1, 5, 10, 15, 20. That way I'm not looking for anything. Whatever happens within that 1 minute time frame is what happens. You guys are seeing the point. I'm not searching for shit. I just let it happen. So if you're going to walk through here by yourself, because remember I've been kicked out of here, I can't take y'all over, and use your voice recorders from your phones. Just remember every local knows the damn story, including me over here. You remember it for how many years ago did you live here?
I just moved home. I was here 20 years until 4 years ago.
Okay, so even up to 4 years ago, you remember the damn story. But if you're walking down here and you hear a whistle, anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street, we all throw a whistle down this alley. It's just something we do. I can't even drive past this place without throwing a whistle. Now,
Look at that grin. He's like, yeah.
She's heard this story 100 times. I told her to
Super
start.
bad luck to whistle in the theater, by the way.
let's talk about something he may not know about
Yeah,
the sound.
yes,
How
yeah.
about that? Let's talk about how I got kicked out of here. That's the fun part of the story. There used to be a wall halfway between us and Cumberland Street. This was before Duelers Alley. This is when it was called Cow Alley. This is where they kept all the livestock for the city of Charleston. So, one night, I used to take my group all the way down to the end. And the reason why I'm telling you all about all this is because this alley is hundreds of years old, and they started building it on the Queen Street side. Those bricks are older. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. These are not. Those bricks down there actually have a handprint in one of their bricks down there, and it's from a slave child. You can see that it's actually from a child handprint. I used to take my group all the way down there to show them the handprint for a history lesson only. There's nothing paranormal about that damn brick. Remember what I said about cemeteries? That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife, I promise you. November 26th of 2020, my entire group, I had 10 people. I took them down there for the lesson, but they stopped, and they all huddled around the damn brick waiting for something to happen. I know nothing's gonna happen. The kid's not there. I'm also trying to be respectful because we were standing outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. My daughter was on the tour that night. She was probably about 14 at the time, and the new owner of that mansion came out screaming his head off, and my 14-year-old figured out, and you can't go down that far, and he hung up the phone. So I told my group that night, it's Black Friday, I'm sold out again. I don't believe in the next story because I'm into vampires, not pirates. I would normally tell you a pirate story next, but I've been kicked out of there too. We'll talk about that later on. But if I tell you we're going to be discussing pirates, who's the first pirate you think of?
Blackbeard.
Right. No, somebody heard the name Anne coming out of a spirit box before we left. I didn't tell them it was going to be Anne and Bonnie, the famous female. So
That's
like,
cool.
okay, maybe we'll get something. We go up and around the corner. Somebody else heard the number 300. I didn't know what that meant. I wrote it down. Again, I'm not into pirates. I did the research. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. So I usually get a lot of like, oh wow, that's pretty cool shit. You guys didn't do that.
Yeah, I am.
But here, I was actually pissed off, and let me explain why. I have a bunch of degrees, all of them in writing or English of some sort. Whenever I'm researching anything, especially my paranormal shit that I do out here with you guys, I like facts and data.
Yes.
Problem with pirates, it's all told from pirate lore, and that pirate lore comes from a derivative of 100 years after the golden age of piracy. So take that for what it's worth. There's a million books out there on how to debunk piracy and all the, romantic things that we think about pirates. And by the way, thank you all for not saying Jack Sparrow when I said who was the first pirate to think of. Dear God, if I had $1 for every answer that time was said, it's crazy.
Teenagers.
Oh, actually, adults too.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it happens. But anyway, so we're not doing the pirate story. The only reason why I'm telling you about this in general is because we're going next to the location of where I would investigate Anne Bonny. That means bleed over. We may still get stuff from pirates over. It just depends. And yes, Blackbeard does have a history here in Charleston. And whenever I bring up Anne Bonny's name is when we get a little subtle clue from Blackbeard here and there. Again, I'm talking very specific clues, not just his full name of Edward Teach or something along that line. You guys are seeing the point. But where we're going next is the cemetery. We're going to take anything like this.
Sorry, I've been holding that in for like
This guy. You should watch his back, please.
No, it's just
Yeah,
pointing
we
at
got a
the other
spotlight,
thing.
but we can make it a little more smaller. The smaller you make it, the brighter it gets. So you got to keep pulling the end of it back and forth, but it is still pretty stiff because it's relatively new. So it's up to you. But I'm trying to make sure it is in there securely, so that way it's when you try to mess around with it. It's all I usually set it up to where it's about halfway, where it covers the whole screen, and then just like that. So when we get over to the cemetery, it's gonna be super dark.
Okay.
So that's why we use that.
Okay.
So Nick, they don't let you go down to the end in
No,
terms.
we're only allowed to go about halfway, honestly.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't know that because I was still new with this.
I know where. I thought.
Is there?
I know there's a couple places on the right up here.
Is there like a church really close?
Yeah, St. Philip's.
Yeah, that's where the famous girl ghost picture's at. But I'm
And
sure.
that's the story I don't tell.
Yeah, I know. That's a. But it's supposed to be legit though. I mean, the
It is
Kodak
legit,
is
but it is
so-
also cursed. And
Yeah.
It's cursed to females when I manually see females.
I keep hearing.
That's the steeple,
like,
right?
church gospel music, which is
So,
weird because
that's a
so
good
far
point.
it's been
Yeah.
not,
Not gospel stuff. But basically, this happens on a nightly basis. I stop writing it down because it happens all the time. It's almost like you're just putting up on the phone.
So you put a shot in.
All right, anybody
that
else with the
bullet.
voice recorder?
That is the truth.
That's
Yeah, I know.
I heard like a doorbell. I was like, I could just hear the people's houses.
really weird. I'm thinking
So
of
did
it now.
you whistle once or more than once?
Once.
I heard 2 whistles.
No, we only did it once.
Okay. I was really
Yeah,
excited.
green and a whistle. I don't know what the hell the green is.
Maybe it's a green room. Maybe someone died in the green room.
Well,
Could
this
be.
this ghost is the one that has the code word. Remember that. So I'm not going to tell you what the code word is unless it pops up. I know that sounds like very suspicious, but you can go back and look at any other investigation and see what the word is.
Pretty buddy.
So with that, we're going to. Like, you already brought it up, but normally when I got kicked out of the pirate
Right out there.
So I've heard black in the cameras specifically once, black book.
Black beard, remember?
Okay. Well, it was black book, very much black book.
Wait, you heard book?
Black book.
Anything else going on with the cameras that I need to know?
I haven't. I mean, you might see something. I haven't seen anything crazy.
Again, we don't stay here too long just because it is a evolving location. I do change this every year.
That's weird. You heard book and I got library. Is there a library around here?
No, but where we're going is the library.
Was there a
She heard
black book in
and
it?
I got library. She got
learn.
learn on her little thingy. I got highly regarded there.
There aren't any people. Has big crowds.
I don't know. There's something going on crazy. Did he have an 8-year-old?
We normally